On April 27th, millions of Canadians will tune in to watch the Maple Leafs play. Now, the only reason why the CHL is able to broadcast this game to millions of people across Canada is because of radio waves. This is the same thing that allows my microphone to be connected to my phone right now. The same thing that allows your computer to be displaying the video that I'm recording right now. And basically the thing that drives everything in our universe. So, in an effort to learn more about this amazing phenomenon, I decided to do some research and buy an antenna for myself, where I'll be attempting to pick up radio signals all across the electromagnetic spectrum, even the ones that satellites hundreds of kilometers above are broadcasting. Right here, let's go. Alrighty then, if you couldn't already tell, today we're going to be listening to radio. So I actually bought a couple of antennas that we're going to be experimenting with and just basically trying to connect to different radio stations, maybe pick up on different frequencies, and maybe even talk to satellites and receive information. All of them are going to be in this video today. And I actually got this video idea from my friend Keil, who is the chief of staff at a company called Electromagnetic. And we were on a call. I was talking about him about brainstorming ideas for this video, and he actually suggested the idea of talking to radios. That was a project that he did himself, so he's kind of helping me through this. I'm really grateful that, thank you Christian, I'm really grateful that I have this opportunity to help him, and just go show him some support. I'll link his Twitter below. He's an awesome guy, really cool, basically like the coolest adult I've ever known. He plays video games, he loves science, just like me. Yeah, so he gave me the idea. He's actually done this project before, and he's basically guided me through this project. So anything that you can, really information, any areas that you have questions about, I suggest you can either reach out to me, look in the resources I put in down below, or try to reach out to Christian. He's absolute genius in the field of satellites. I know usually I talk about propulsion, but this time Christian has helped me with the area of radio waves and the electromagnetic spectrum and satellites, which I think is a new area, and I'm really grateful. Thank you so much, Christian. And yeah, enough with talking. Let's actually talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. I know that's a pretty confusing area, so let's get right into it.
I am presenting you with an option. You take the blue pill, you continue on with this video, where I give a short but concise explanation of the electromagnetic spectrum. Afterwards, you can jump ahead to the action. You take the red pill, you dive deeper, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now, you're probably here for one of two reasons. A, you have a pre-existing understanding of the electromagnetic spectrum, or B, you just don't care about it enough to dive deeper. But either way, it's fine. So what is the electromagnetic spectrum? We must first understand that our universe is constantly surrounded by fields. There's the electric field and the magnetic field. This field is basically the range where different particles can interact with each other without directly touching them. You know how if I want to push, I don't know, Bob here, and I push him, I have to be touching him. But these fields allow for different forces, different particles to push and pull on each other without directly touching them. Think about a magnet, right? If I have a magnet in one hand and I have a magnet in another hand, they're gonna attract to each other or oppose each other depending on the polarities. And so the reason for this is because they're within each other's magnetic fields and because just they have a force on each other. So now that we understand what the electromagnetic fields are, remember, electric fields, magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields, we have to understand that when these particles in the electromagnetic field, so if you have a magnet, for example, and you begin to move it all the way around, it's going to send out waves, electromagnetic waves, which will cause other magnets in the area to also move around. This is why if you have a magnet on the table and another magnet on the table, you move this one's all going to also move, because the first one, when you move it, you're sending out waves which will disturb the second one. Now, the thing about these waves is that you're able to transfer information through these waves, and this is how us as a society use these waves, right? If I have a radio wave, the radio station is taking a charged particle, it's moving it around, broadcasting those waves, and then on the other end, it's taking that wave and decoding it into, like, taking the wave, taking all the aspects about it, and decoding it into information for, in this case, music. Now I'm giving you another two options. You can jump forward to this time and just begin the video seeing me actually talking to satellite, or you can continue watching and watch me do a more in-depth explanation of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's your choice. In our universe, there are two ways to look at matter and energy: waves and particles. Now imagine you had a charged particle. This particle, because of its charge, would have a static electric field, meaning that no matter what, it will always have a positive or negative electric field. Now, you can think of this as an electron would have a negative electric field and a proton would have a positive electric field, while a neutron, which isn't electrically charged, wouldn't have any electric field. Now, if I were to accelerate the particle, it would generate field and then, as a result, would create a magnetic field. These two fields are interconnected and they are considered the electromagnetic fields. Now, when we move a charged particle, these two fields will then interact with each other and disturb each other. These disturbances then propagate outward in a wave-like fashion, or to be more specific, an electromagnetic wave. Now, the Feynman lectures on physics actually has a really good explanation for this, and it is that you can imagine our universe as a pool, the electromagnetic fields as the water in that pool, and the charged particles as a float in that pool. Just like when you move a float in a pool, you cause ripples in the water, when you move a charged particle in our universe, you cause ripples in the electromagnetic fields. To further illustrate this idea, you can think of it as when we cause disturbances in the water, we cause waves in the water. When we cause disturbances in air, we cause sound waves in the air. And when we cause disturbances in the electromagnetic fields, we cause electromagnetic waves. One final thing before we move on to talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. We have to understand that we're always surrounded by electromagnetic waves and electromagnetic fields. However, the reason why we do not actually feel these waves is because often the waves that are actually strong enough for us to feel them are really rare, like radiation or X-rays. Those are only used in certain situations. The majority of the time, we are surrounded by weaker waves, like radios, like television, like Bluetooth. All of these things do not really affect us as they are not strong enough to. Now that we have a general understanding of electromagnetic fields and electromagnetic waves, let's talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum directly measures the wavelengths of the generated electromagnetic waves. So you can think of this in two ways. Number one, how big the waves are, or number two, like the distance from one crest to the other. So if this was my wave, it'd be from here to here. A larger wave would be a result of the fields interacting with each other at a slower pace, or the charged particles essentially just moving slower. Now let's visualize this. If my hand was a charged particle and I was moving it really fast up and down, then it would be generating a wave with a really small wavelength, or basically just a really high rate of oscillation, meaning it's moving really fast. However, if I were to slow it down, that means that it has a larger wavelength because the crests are larger, it takes longer to go up and down. And this means just slower oscillations in general, as you can see right here. Now, because it takes a lot of energy to move a charged particle up and down really fast, the smaller the wavelength, the higher the energy. So the electromagnetic spectrum essentially measures how much energy a wave has. Now, light is higher up on this spectrum, meaning it has more energy. So its wavelengths would be about the size of the tip of this pin needle. However, a radio wave would have wavelengths that reach about that height of that building right there. Now, when talking about waves, we have to know the term hertz and frequency, which essentially measure how many waves pass over a certain amount of time. So the smaller the wavelength, the more waves that can pass over for, say, 1 second, meaning the higher the frequency and the higher the hertz. Now, another term that we need to know is amplitude, which essentially measures how high or low the crest of a wave is. And this directly correlates to the strength of the wave. And it's pretty intuitive if you think about it, right? A water wave, or just a normal wave on water, would have a much larger strength if it was, much higher in amplitude, going up and down much higher. But it could be much weaker if it had a smaller crest and had a much lower amplitude. So overall, when my car is receiving radio waves from a radio station, it is essentially taking the electromagnetic wave, taking the wavelengths, taking the amplitudes, taking the frequencies, and trying to get as much information out of it as possible and decoding it in just one wave, right? And all this information is measured by bandwidth, which doesn't grow on trees. Okay, enough with the Discord reference. However, bandwidth does measure the volume of information you can get from a signal over a certain amount of time. So it's essentially just how much information you can decode from an electromagnetic wave. Now, one final thing you have to note with the electromagnetic spectrum is that it has a lot of different categories, and this is just so that we can allocate different areas of frequencies to different purposes. So like TVO, radio, TV, satellite television. Okay, radios, television, satellites, emergency communication, a whole lot of things. It's all just so that we can utilize this awesome force of nature, basically, you know? Now, if you want a better understanding of electromagnetic waves and how it works, I have a bunch of resources linked down below in the description. Now, let's talk about how these signals are actually used. On the broadcasting end, a broadcaster needs to be able to convert information into the movement of a charged particle, and often this is done by running an electric current through an antenna, which will then move the charged particles and basically broadcast electromagnetic waves. On the other end, with a receiver, it needs to be able to basically catch these electromagnetic waves and then convert it into the movement of a charged particle, basically just reversing the previous steps, and then taking that charged particle, the movement of it, and converting it into an electric signal, which they can use to gain information that was being broadcasted. So essentially, it's like, think about it. Okay, on one end, the broadcasting end, it takes the information and basically breaks it down into the movement of a charged particle and breaks it into an electromagnetic wave and uses all the different properties of the wave, like the frequency, the amplitude, the wavelength, all of that to hold that information. And then on the other end, an antenna, which is trying to pick up that frequency, will take that electromagnetic wave and then essentially turn it into the movement of a charged particle. And using all the factors, like I said before, the frequency, the amplitude, the wavelength, we are able to basically reconstruct the information that was once being broadcasted. So one end, it takes down the information and breaks it into an electromagnetic wave, and then on the other end, it takes the electromagnetic wave and turns it into the aforementioned information. Now, another thing that we have to take note of is the actual shape of the antenna, as, you know, it's meant to be deliberate to be able to catch as much information as possible. Now, to actually achieve this goal of receiving as much information as possible, usually antennas are designed to be very large so that they cover a large area and they're able to receive electromagnetic waves from all around. Now, some common ways of actually doing this are maybe an array of poles, a large dish, a helix, or just any other wacky shape that you can think of that can get this job done, that can be able to receive as much information as possible. Now, there's no point in having information scattered across a large area that the antenna is covering. So usually, these antennas would reflect the information to one point, which would actually do all the converting of the electromagnetic waves into a actual information or a electronic signal. So it does this by, you know, a dish would do this by having all of the electromagnetic waves bounce off and reflect it to one point in the center, which is basically where it actually does all the converting of the information. Maybe an array of poles would have some poles sticking up at other angles to be able to bounce off and reflect it to the main area that does all the converting. Essentially, you want to be able to focus your information, but also be able to cover a lot of area to actually receive that information in the first place. Now, one final thing that I want to add, by the way, sorry for the sudden change in hair. One final thing that I want to add is this thing called a software-defined radio, upside down. So RTL, SDR. I actually forgot what the RTL stand for. Hopefully, my editor can put it in, which is me, also obviously. SDR actually is the part that I want to talk about. SDR stands for software-defined radio, and what that means is, what this does is basically converts the analog signals. So think of it as, for those of you who don't know, an analog signal is the imagine a clock. Analog signal is continuous, right? Every single in-between fraction. So playing a trombone would be an analog signal, while a digital signal is like ones and zeros. It can only be in a set position, while an analog signal is every signal in between that. So this SDR, essentially what it does is you attach it to your antenna using this area right here. You screw it on, and then what it does is it takes the analog signals and it converts it into a digital signal, which then a computer can process using just basically just ones and zeros, the foundation and fundamentals of code. Alright, now I think you guys are ready for the main part of this video, which is how I myself will actually be doing this. So first, let's cut to the unboxing. Yo guys, I just got back from school. This here, one of the packages. Which one is this? 2 Max When. Let's go check this out. Alrighty then, let's get started with the fun stuff, or the actual stuff. So, for those of you who have listened to me talk for 10 minutes about the electromagnetic spectrum, now is your time to actually have a bit of fun and see me actually do stuff. For those of you who just jumped here, welcome. Okay, so now let's talk about what I will be using. So I actually bought 3 things from Amazon, but all 3 of these Christian Keil has recommended to me. First of all is an SDR, an RDR, no, RTL SDR, which essentially, like I said earlier, if you stayed here for the longer explanation, is essentially a software-defined radio that converts the waves into digital signals. So it's right here. It says the actual dongle upside down, but I plug it into my computer. I dropped it. I plug it into my computer, and essentially, hold up. Oh, okay. Also, you can see me unboxing this. No, wait. That side, yes, here. Just me unboxing and stuff. Okay, so this RTL SDR, you plug this end into your computer, and so I have a MacBook which only has USB-C ports, so I actually had to get an adapter, which you'll see later, like, causes a lot of problems for me. Alright, this, like, basically snapped when I put it down, so this is, like, basically, like, almost broken, so which is basically the converter of all the information. This is the most valuable thing. These used to be super expensive back then because technology was rare, but now they're much cheaper. Okay, and next you get two antennas, two of these metal thingies. There's 2 small ones, but they're not here right now, and it's too tiresome to actually replace them. But you get 2 of these, and you get this main like tripod thing, which you put it down, and basically you open this, spread these out, and then you have a antenna that can pick up signals. And on the other end, you have this thingy, my bubby, which you plug into your RTL SDR, or no, like screw it onto your RTL SDR, and they basically can pick up any signals anytime. It's really easy process. It just like takes some understanding to get. Okay, now I bought 2 more things. First of all is a much larger, I think it's Yagai antenna. It's like an array of poles. I can't actually show you it because it's in the other room, but image here. So basically, I can also plug that larger antenna into my RTL SDR and like receive signals from there. But they use 2 different ports. You see, right now this one uses a much smaller. It's not focusing. Okay, right now this uses a much smaller one, but the antenna has a much larger one. I think if I can get a photo here. Otherwise, it's fine. So I actually had to buy an adapter. And funny story, Christian Keil, he actually got the wrong adapter. I think I'll let him explain it for this time.
The mistake I made was the adapter. So this is something really important to pay attention to. Like when you're using these things, you have to make sure that the output, like just make sure that basically that your cords will plug into each other. Simply enough. You can see this. I don't know if you can really tell from there, but this is sort of, it looks like a normal kind of like TV-ish cable, you know, if you've ever seen one of these. And I figured that I would just be able to plug this directly into the SDR because it said that it was like, it said it was fine. You know, it like looks like the sort of the same thing, but it's like, you can see the mismatch. Like one's way bigger than the other one. I don't know if you can even tell. It's like literally twice as big. And so not going to screw in, not going to work. I bought a thing off Amazon that said it would work. I like looked at the different specs of the different sides, but it sent me like the wrong thing, or like just something that doesn't, like what the heck is that? It has like this little weird like indent thing. Like this was supposed to go to that side and this was supposed to go to that side, but these ended up both being male and this is just a totally different connector altogether. So I totally messed up purchasing the wrong adapter. So then I had to go back and I had to find the right adapter. And basically I just like It's so silly. These two things on Amazon are listed the same, but look how different they are. They're like super different. And so I just had to verify via the pictures on Amazon that it was actually going to be the correct thing. Because then when I get this now, I can screw one end into this side and the other end into this side, and then it actually connects. So that was like my entire first attempt was failing to do this too. So be careful with connectors.
So yeah, funny story, Christian Kyle actually bought the wrong adapter, so he actually had to buy 2 of these. So he actually sent me the right one. The package comes in 2. This is one of them, the other ones are currently on the antenna. But I can just screw this in onto my RTL SDR. Oh, this is like a product review, by the way. And then right here, you see that? That's the port for the actual like larger antenna itself. So 3 things. Number 1, this RTL SDR with this like tripod. Number 2, a larger antenna. I can't show you that, but image. And number 3 is the adapter for it. This is actually the most expensive part of it. You may think it's the large antenna, which is very large, but this is actually the most expensive part. This is a lot of technology, and this is awesome. Now let's actually explain the software end of things. We've talked a lot about the science and the technical stuff, but besides the RTL SDR, we haven't really dived into software. So first of all, the software that I'm using is called SDR++. Link below. I'm using it for MacBook. It's kind of a bit weird for MacBook. You have to kind of like find a lot more links to download it, but I'm using SDR++ as my software. There's a lot more software. Just search up like, I don't know, SDR softwares, and you'll get like an entire list of them. I have a bunch of resources down below, but what these basically do is it's able to pick up signals on a wide range of things. So let's actually explain the UI. On like the left or right side of it, I can't tell. On the left side of it, it's like all the settings, right? Here is where you like make sure all your settings are correct and you're using the right antenna, and like basically just correcting what frequency you're picking up on, the range, the bandwidth, just the amount of information you're picking up on. It's a lot of just the settings, the technical settings, like are you recording the sound that you're receiving? Also, the sound usually sounds like static unless you're listening to a radio, and like what like antenna you're connecting to on your computer. And then so now you probably notice 2 things. Number 1, on the top there is a sort of like bunch of fuzzy things and on a graph. So the x-axis represents the different ranges of hertz, right? You have that one line that's basically the area that you're listening to. You can move it up and down that axis to basically just get all the small hertz from the range that you're looking at. So at the top you see the number, like what megahertz you're looking at. So if you're at 88 to 108, that's like radio frequency. So if you type in like maybe 90, you'd probably see like a bunch of different radio frequencies. And so on the graph, you just take your line and move it to the different frequencies that you want to listen to. And you'll notice where the radio stations are, as there's like a significant like upward incline in terms of amplitude. So in the areas that have a much higher amplitude, that's where the signal change is strong, and that's usually the broadcasting signals. Otherwise, it can just be a bunch of random static. Sometimes you may see like one giant spike, but that's just usually just background noise. So one final thing you'd notice is probably like a waterfall area where the graph is kind of like drawing colors down. So usually any weak frequencies will be drawing blue colors. And so what this waterfall basically allows you is that it allows you to see the stronger frequencies, as they'd probably be drawing brighter colors, maybe orange all the way to up to red. And so this basically just shows you the lines of the stronger frequencies that's drawing on the waterfall to just help you distinct where it's static and where is the actual stronger frequencies, maybe radio stations or satellite communication. And this is really helpful. It allows you to see the frequency the broadcaster is broadcasting at, and it just basically makes it much easier to like distinctually look at each individual frequency as to on that graph where there's a bunch of different squiggly lines. So it's really difficult to discern strong frequencies from weak frequencies. So overall, if you want a much better explanation of this, you can check out a bunch of resources I put in the link below. This is just like a really general overview of the different sections. Okay, we are live. Alright, that's perfect. Now, I downloaded the SDR, here we are. Okay, I downloaded the SDR++ software already, and, let's see if we can get see if it can detect our dongle. Oh, it got it. And then let's... Oh, we're getting something. No way. Guys. This is so cool.
Radio. It's a FM broadcast.
So right now it's at 2.4 megahertz. So that's like how much it's detecting. We're not getting anything right now. It's just static. Yeah, it's just static right now. Every now and then there's like a disturbance. I don't know, I think I need to configure some settings. So, like any great science experiment, I failed the first attempt. So I won't bore you with 30 minutes of me trying to figure out this problem, but essentially the issue that occurred was, it wasn't anything related to the settings, right? Everything was fine, I was using the right device, I was connecting, I was able to pick up the signals, right? Also in the video right here, my first attempt, I was attempting to try to pick up radio signals. So from 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz, that's the range where radios usually broadcast their signals. So I was trying to pick that up before moving on to satellites. So for my first attempt, I was looking in the 100 megahertz range and all the frequencies around that, and I wasn't able to find anything. And because of this, I was like, what did I do doing wrong? Maybe I have to change a few things. However, the reason is much more stupider than that. I actually wasn't able to pick up these signals because I was looking in the wrong area. The radio stations in my area, in Toronto, were broadcasting at 57 megahertz, or 56, 55 megahertz. What the hell? This is completely not standard. Usually, in America or any other country, they'd be broadcasting at like 88 to 108 megahertz. Like, why are they broadcasting at 57? I actually figured this out while I was just scrolling through, because I was really bored and I couldn't really figure out my issue. And then all of a sudden I saw like giant bumps and increases in hertz, and I'm like, oh my god, no way, it's been here the entire goddamn time. Yeah, so that was fun. If you want to actually see the video of me figuring this issue out and being like, oh my god, here it is. Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! You see? Oh my god. Why is it at 56? I was adjusting it because the ISS didn't work. I was so sad. And then, we got music. Oh, I'm so happy. Who the hell's broadcasting in the 50 hertz? That's what I'm saying. Anyways, after I figured out the radio situation, I just started listening to music and having a blast because I figured out my issue that I spent like 6 hours outside to solve. Yeah, so I can't show you any of the clips because they're all copyrighted with radio station music in the background. However, the next day, March 24th, was when I actually started connecting to satellites. So, let's see that. Alright, we got a satellite cast coming up in about like 7-ish minutes. So I'll show you guys where it's going to be going. Okay, so it's starting azimuth, which is essentially like the direction on the compass, where it's going to start. So this is, north is about that way, so we're going to start from there. It's going to go up. Its highest point is about like 60 degrees, so it's going to go there. And then it stops at azimuth of 206. So that's 206 degrees from north. So it's like overall just a big arc all the way around. So that's our plan. I'm going to go get up our setup and set up our setup. We're going to be using the smaller antenna this time because it's more space efficient and I can hold it better. But yeah, this should be a frequency of 137.1 megahertz because we're tracking the NOAA 19 satellite. So yeah, it should work. I'm going to get this set up and now I'm going to begin recording. Also, I switched the tripod back to phone. T-minus 2 minutes. We got this. I was just testing out if the radio station worked. Alright, supposedly, we should be getting a signal at 137.5 megahertz. Let's see. I'll grab my phone, give me a second. Yeah, 137.1 megahertz. So I want you guys to be able to see this. Alright, I realized something wrong. So the highest altitude is actually at like west-northwest. So it should be right about here. So it should actually be going an arc like this way. And this is a pretty long pass. It's 15 minutes and 65 degrees. So that's really good. Alright. It should be starting now. So let's switch out of our vibing mode and begin our science mode. Wait, give me a sec. Alright, we're on high gain right now. Hold up, wait, let me begin recording my computer. And we're recording, okay. Oh, you see that? We're picking up something. You see that slight bump? The slight waterfall? Hold up. Wait a minute. That's with what frequency? Okay, there's some coming in, you see? Light, clear. Oh, it's slightly rising at 137.5. Let me begin recording on OBS. Alright, we're recording. Oh? Are we picking up anything? You see, we're getting some stuff. We're on high gain right now. 49.6 decibels. We have 3 signals, see? 1, 2, 3. That's strange. Okay, but I'm holding it at 136.9 because that's closest to the NOAA satellite. It should be coming up anytime now. Any second. Oh my god, I cannot tell you how cool this was to actually see those 3 signal lines. Those are actually being broadcasted from the NOAA 19 satellite. And it's like, oh my god, that's so cool. That's like 400 kilometers up, and I can still receive those signals down here in my backyard. And after I got those signals, I went into a meeting with Keil, and he actually told me a very cool thing. Here it is.
Oh, so this is cool. Do you want to? So this is the image you sent. And you can see the lines or whatever. So the reason why the lines are sort of like tilty, do you notice that? Like they start out over here, and then they kind of end up more towards this side.
Shifting.
Do you know why that? It's from Doppler. It's the Doppler shift.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that cool? So it's basically the same thing as when you see an ambulance coming at you and it goes like, woo.
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing. Because the satellite is physically moving towards you, and so those waves are getting compressed and it's higher frequency, and then it gets lower frequency as it kind of like moves past you.
Yeah. I mean, you think it's only for for ambulances, you know?
Yeah. Turns out Doppler applies to more than just ambulances.
Yeah. How cool is that? The same thing that makes ambulances go also makes the signals on my screen go diagonal. That's so cool. Everything in physics is connected. I absolutely love it so much. Anyways, you're probably wondering what we actually do with that signal, right? When you were listening to it, you couldn't really process the information to it. All you could hear was static. Well, to actually convert that static noise into a visual information or a photo, we have to use another third-party software to actually do the conversion. So Keil likes to use the NOAA 19 website, which will convert the audio file into images from the NOAA 19 satellite. However, I personally use SatDump, which is another software. It kind of does the same thing as SDR++, but it also has the option to convert audio files into actual images. So what I did was I basically just selected NOAA 19 as the satellite I used and put in the audio file, and it knows how to convert it, converts the audio, converts like all the different factors of it into the actual like readable and understandable image. So here's the image. It's a bit fuzzy because of the static, and if you see those lines on it that are brighter than the actual image, that was what the computer put in. So here's the raw version without any of the lines, and here's the version with the lines. So before we move on to the next pass, I want to explain how I am able to tell where the satellite's coming from. I use this website called NY20, and it essentially just tells you all the satellites where they're going to be passing from your location. So here's the graph that I referenced while trying to connect to the NOAA 19 satellite, and essentially there's a few terminologies. First of all is azimuth, which is essentially like the degrees from north. So if this way would be north, then and the satellite would be coming up from north, it would say 0 degrees north as starting position. But if it was like 90 degrees east, then it would be over here. Yeah, if it was 180 degrees south, it'd be back there. And if it was 270 degrees west, then it would be over here. And so that's the starting position. They give us two azimuths. First of all, the starting position and then the ending position. So if it goes from north to west, then the first azimuth would be 0 north, and then the second azimuth would be 270 west. It's pretty easy to understand. It just takes some learning to do. And so the next thing you gotta understand is something called elevation, which is the highest point in between the two azimuths. So for example, if it goes from north to south, the elevation would give us the degrees from where you're at in the sky at the highest point. So north to south, if it says 60 degrees, then you just look at this arc, and then you find 60 degrees up, and you realize that's the arc, and it creates like overall just creates an arc on your horizon. And it's so cool. Usually for satellite passes, you want your elevation to be above like 40 degrees. You want it to be at an area where it's not obstructed by anything. That's how you get the strongest signals. So the NOAA 19 pass, I think it was at elevation 60, which was really good to get like a clean image. And you can see the clean image that I got. But the next pass, I think it's going to be 85, so it's much better. So overall, that's how I'm able to figure out where the satellites are going to be coming in from. Alright, this like basically snapped when I put it down. So this is like basically like almost broken. So we gotta be cautious about that. But we got a perfect pass. Coming in from I think like 167 south, we're about there. Going up to 83 degrees right about here. 250 north, 250 southwest, and then ending up north. So that's basically perfect. And we have the big one today. So wait, let's first see if this actually works. I will begin playing. Let's see if we actually get anything. Okay, so this is not broken yet. That's good. Okay, yeah, the pass is in about like 10 minutes. Look, science chicken. Automatic gyroscope. Move its body and its head don't move. Okay. Bye-bye, chicken. Science cat. Alright, we got the tripod out. Thank you, Dad. Let's hit record on this software now. And on OBS. So you guys can actually see my screen.
I don't see it.
It should be coming any second now. I'm not getting any signal right now, but that's fine. And start recording.
Now I can see 2 stars.
Okay, wait, settings, sorry.
One is on the left, the other is on the right.
Okay. Keep going. Browse. Okay. Where are the stars?
It's up. I don't know the direction.
Okay, here we are. We're just recording. Alright, Dad, can you? Are we getting anything? Are you recording?
Yeah, it's...
Awesome. We're not picking up anything.
Where is the satellite?
Dad, can you go get the other antenna, too? For me? Thank you so much. We're not seeing anything right now. We might switch antenna. I might switch antenna and see if we can find anything from then. Let me just check the details. 24:05. Oh shoot, no, it's right here now. Oh, I miscalculated the start time. It started like 10 minutes ago. shit. Okay. We're not getting anything right now, but it started. So I thought it was 8:12, but 8:12 is actually at its highest peak. Shit. What happened? Crap. My adapter broke.
You mute it.
Oh my god. Uh-oh. We're gonna miss this. And I'm probably gonna need to buy a new adapter. Okay, but I guess we're not gonna
That's a star.
I guess we're not using the big
That's
satellite.
another star, but I don't see the satellite.
Yeah, it's over here now. I miscalculated.
It's over there.
I misjudged. Ah.
I don't see it.
Oh, Dad. Okay. Are we getting anything? It's definitely moving now. I think that one's broken. Or I need to fix that one of some sort. It should be 52 centimeters at a 120 degree angle. Where is it right now? It should be heading down now. We're not receiving anything. Is it behind us? Oh? We're getting a slight signal.
Holding another antenna. The bigger one connection has
Oh,
a
we
problem.
got a slight signal. Oh, it's gone. Wait, if we point this way.
And trying to get the satellite from the sky. That's lame.
We're receiving a slight signal. Come, can you bring the camera? Right here. You see that waterfall? You see those 3 waterfalls? Those are the slight signals. 1. And then
Alright.
this transit ends at about 2020, so in about 2 minutes. Wait, that means that the thing is over there now. Oh, we lost the signal. So I must point it backwards. I don't know why. Both satellites were supposed to be coming this way, but ultimately I had to point them this way. I don't know. Maybe it's like a logistical issue. Okay, I think we're not getting anything anymore. Now it's around my head. Okay, in about 1 minute this class ends, so... Yeah, you can stop recording now.
You need?
Okay, recording number 2. I just need to convert it. So, we take this. I'll show you guys the process. But the audio file that we just got, we have to plop into satdump. So let's go to satdump. Basically, satdump converts the information. According to Christian, where's satdump? Satdump. There it is. So the pipeline is NOAA. NOAA, I just do APT because that's all I know what to do. I only know what APT means. Input file. We find our audio file over here. It's under there. So we can search in the search bar. Right here. This one, we drag it to our downloads. Oh shit, it actually moved to the downloads. It doesn't matter. And then input file. So, because like I can't find the file normally, so I'll just move it to the downloads. Date added right there. To waveform, baseband audio _ wave. Let's put the output. So this is where the coding goes to. So I have a folder called science and satellite results. So this is the path that we did earlier. So I want to just go to this folder and I can organize it later. Now let's start. Oh, shh. Congratulations. Been. Oh, nice. Okay. I think we got it. I think this is giving us it. We got a signal, like a really faint one at the very end, because I mistimed it. I thought 812 was meant to be when it started, rise over there and goes up there. But actually, 812 is when it reaches over there. So I actually started at 805. So I gotta be more cautious next time. Okay, let's see if we got anything. Oh, shit! Look at that. Oh my god, that's Hudson Bay. Do you see that? No way. And, okay. So we got 3 photos, and they're not that bad. They're pretty clear. Oh my god, that's so cool. Well, honestly, guys, I think we did really well today. We actually got the satellites. So, yeah, in the end, I was able to connect to 2 satellites, NOAA 19 and NOAA 15, and they both gave me beautiful images of Earth from space. I did also try to connect to another satellite called Space Satellis. It's the Pope satellite. It's broadcasting a message from the Pope. However, I ultimately failed. But I'm fine with just connecting to NOAA 19 and NOAA 15. Both of them gave me a lot of learning. I learned a lot about the electromagnetic spectrum. I learned a lot about satellites in general, and I had an absolute blast making this video. This is a really large project for me. It was a really long and fun experience for me editing this video, and you will notice this is like one of my longest videos yet. But I had so much fun with this. I learned so much from Christian, from actually doing this, from doing my research, and I hope you guys also learned. And I'm just gonna end it off just thanking those who've helped me. I want to thank Christian, thank my brother for inspiring me, and thank both my parents for just being there and supporting me. If you notice, when I was picking up the NOAA 15 satellite signals, getting that photo of the Hudson Bay, my dad was there. He was recording the video for me. He was there. He helped me out through this, and I'd also like to thank my mom. Although she's not ever seen in this video or mentioned in this video, she was behind the scenes, always encouraging me, always helping me with literally any project that I've ever had. I'm super grateful to have such supportive parents. I'm super grateful to have an awesome brother, and I'm super grateful for Christian Keil for being there and acting as a mentor for me throughout this project. This project was a very long one. It took me 4 months ever since I got the idea in February all the way up to now when I'm finishing the video. And yeah, I hope you guys had a lot of fun with this, and I'd just like to thank everyone that's been supporting me, and also thank you guys for staying until the end. And yeah, with that, happy Mother's Day.